now.
Queen Elizabeth, your cousin Mary has returned to rule.
We have a scourge upon our land, a woman with a crown.
Tell my cousin that we pray for peace.
She has a claim to your throne.
You would have me deposed, Mr. Monk.
It is either civil war there or civil war here.
Do not play into their hands. Together we could conquer all of those who doubt us.
Mary, Queen of Scots, in cinemas January 18th.
This right here is easily the movie you came here to see. Not really. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. It's December 7th and December 14th of 2018. 2 weekends this time around, and like I said before, we know we want to get to the good stuff the following weekend, but there is only one movie that came out on the 7th, and it's not a particularly good film overall. It's Mary, Queen of Scots, and it's a movie that even opened up in limited release. So not only do you have one dumping weekend after Thanksgiving, you got two in a row. So let's go ahead and just jump into this one real quick, because there's really not much more to say about this one if you haven't already seen it. But it explores the turbulent life of the charismatic Mary Stuart, played by Saoirse Ronan, Queen of France at 16 and widowed at 18. Mary defies pressure to remarry. Instead, she returns to her native Scotland to reclaim her rightful throne. But England is under the rule of the compelling Elizabeth I, played by Margot Robbie, who wishes to reduce the perceived threat from Mary. Each young queen beholds her sister in fear and fascination, rivals in power and in love, and female rulers in a masculine world. The two must decide how to play the game of marriage versus independence. Determined to rule as much more than a figurehead, Mary asserts her claim to succeed the English throne, threatening Elizabeth's sovereignty. Betrayal, rebellion, and conspiracies within each court imperil both thrones and change the course of history. And let me just tell you right now, you see a movie with Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan, and your first thought is probably some sick, twisted memory out there. Some sick, twisted person out there is probably thinking to themselves, please tell me that these two make out with each other. Because that was the same thing that happened is about almost 10 years ago with The Other Boleyn Girl. You have a movie with Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson, and you think it's a period piece movie, much like this is. And your first thought when you watch the poster for that is, are these two going to make out, even though they're sisters? It's just like, no, that does not happen in this movie. It would have probably made this movie much more interesting, just like The Other Boleyn Girl would have been much more interesting if that happened. But I mean, The Other Boleyn Girl was a good movie and all, but yeah, this is about as typical and generic of a period piece drama as you could get. I mean, I say it like it's a bad movie. It's not. It's just, we've seen this movie done before so many times. And I think the thing that kind of elevates it is the performances by Robbie and Ronan. I think these are two very good actresses playing these roles here. And yeah, the film does look nice, but what do we always say here on this channel? Visuals don't always make the movie, and yeah, the rest of the movie itself is pretty forgettable. The writer of this movie is Beau Willimon, the guy who gave us House of Cards, the TV series. So that really is about all I can tell you about this movie. The rest of the movie itself is kind of a drag overall. Nothing really interesting happens in it. Nothing really amazing happens. It's just kind of there. And yeah, it's the type of movie that's begging for Academy Awards. And it got nominated for the ones you think it's going to get. Costume design, makeup, and hairstyling, which is good. But everything else, no. This isn't one of those movies that's going to be one of the big awards contenders. So Mary, Queen of Scots, not a great movie. So let's go ahead and move on to the big weekend, December 14th. Let's get to the movies that everyone wants to hear me talk about. Starting off with not only the best movie of the year, one of the best animated movies I've ever seen, but one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And that is, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Wait, so how many of us are there?
Why, there's so many of you that scene in particular is not in this movie. But, hey, what else can I say about this movie? I friggin' love this movie. This film is amazing. Like, this is the definitive Spider-Man movie. And I don't think I need to really delve into why that is. I've done a video talking about it as one of my favorite movies of all time, but if you have not seen that one, sit back and let me tell you, children, sit back and let me tell you about what cinema is really about. This is cinema. So Miles Morales comes across the long-dead Peter Parker. Well, not really the long-dead Peter Parker. The Peter Parker in Miles' world is dead after the Kingpin kills him, but he meets a different Peter, not from this world, but another world, somewhere in the multiverse. That Peter is played by Jake Johnson. The Peter in Miles' world is played by Chris Pine. And, you know, with Parker's guidance, Miles will become Spider-Man, and through that, he will become part of the ever-expanding Spiderverse, where you have all these different Spider-Men and women coming together to try to stop the Kingpin, played by Liev Schreiber, who apparently was really into these villainous roles around this time, because he was the Storm King in My Little Pony, the movie, a year ago. And really, this is about as perfect of a movie as you can get, from the visual style, to the great storytelling, to the great characters, to just showing why going to the movies can still be special. It's one of those movies that, it's one of those things that you'll never forget the first time you saw it. I mean, it's a movie where, I mean, I didn't know what I was really going into with it. I mean, I thought the animation looked great from the first trailers the year before when it came out. I mean, that's why you know they really are pushing this when they're putting a teaser trailer for it a year in advance. And you know, Sony Pictures Animation, they desperately needed this, man. After a year and a half ago when they gave us the Emoji Movie, this thing just put them on the map big time. I mean, they were already on the map, but it brought them back up from the ashes after the 2017 they had. But where do you even begin, man? Well, let's start with the animation, because, yeah, it is gorgeous to look at from the get-go. I had no idea that as every new trailer came out, the animation was going to get better and better with how many unique styles they throw in there. This thing breaks new grounds in how many forms of animation you can cram into a movie, and it works so well. These are scenes that I was surprised at how well they blended CGI and 2D together. You know, this movie, you know, the Peanuts movie and The Little Prince were precursors to this film. Had those films not come out, I don't think you would have a movie like this, because this movie shows how you can blend 2D and 3D animation to perfect effect. And you can tell that there was a lot of animators on board with this movie, and their work showed up big time in this film. From a technical level, this is impressive. The visuals are amazing. They did a great job of making you feel like you're reading a comic book brought to life on the big screen. It's a unique, really creative way to do this that I haven't seen done before up to this point. And quite frankly, I haven't really seen it done since. I mean, this thing is, it's just chef's kiss, man. We're not even done with my praises yet. The voice cast and the characters are great. I haven't seen a movie like this where I wanted to see more of these characters in spin-off properties. Like, you know, Shameik Moore, who was in one of my favorite movies of the decade in Dope. He's excellent as Miles Morales. Jake Johnson's great as Peter Parker. Haley Steinfeld's great as Gwen Stacy. Nicolas Cage, perfect as Spider-Man Noir. I mean, if you haven't been watching Spider Noir now, go watch it on Prime Video, because it is worth it. It's one of the best shows of the year. John Mulaney is great as Spider-Ham. Kamiko Glenn, a very great voice actress overall. Great as Penny. You got Lily Tomlin as Aunt May, Liev Schreiber's Kingpin, Mahershala Ali, Brian Tyree Henry, Luna Lauren Velez, Chris Pine, Oscar Isaac, Catherine Hahn, Zoe Kravitz, Lake Bell, Jorma Taccone. Just it's excellent cast, and they're all giving these great performances. I want to see so many spin-offs with these characters, and it's amazing they have not gone down that route yet. But then again, I think they're still trying to finish the trilogy up here, because, you know, we're still waiting for Beyond the Spider-Verse to come out, which will be next year, we hope. But the script is great, with so much going on. They cram in a lot of stuff. There's never any point where it feels like they're doing it too much, and it feels cluttered. Everything feels legitimate and well done. And it does a great job of balancing the comedy and the drama in this. I mean, they balance it out where it never feels forced or goes on for too long. And they do a great job of avoiding going into cliches that I would have expected from a story like this. I mean, every moment feels genuine and not forced. One of the best examples of this is when, you know, there's a scene in the movie where you find out that Miles' Uncle Aaron is the Prowler. And so the Prowler is killed by Kingpin, and, you know, Brian Tyree Henry is, of course, Miles' father, who's a cop, and, you know, he thinks that Spider-Man killed, because Miles is still wearing the Spider-Man getup, and he thinks that Spider-Man is the one that killed him, and he puts on an APB for Spider-Man. He thinks to himself, okay, we're really gonna play this game here, but later on but then it's followed by a really great moment between Brian Tyree Henry's character and Miles Morales, and Miles is like tied up because the other Spider-Man are basically keeping him locked in his room so he doesn't have to deal with what's going to happen, is what they're going to do here, because they don't think he's ready for it yet. And it's this great moment where Miles' father is talking to him, and he thinks that Miles isn't talking to him because he's mad at him or something like that, but it doesn't. But the way it's played out is so well done. I think a lot of it has to do with the acting in general. I mean, the acting is great in this. Brian Tyree Henry is great, and Shameik Moore doesn't. Miles Morales doesn't really have to say anything, and you could still feel what the character of Miles' father is going through in that situation, and that speech gives Miles the motivation to go out and prove to everyone that he can do this, and leads to my favorite scene in the movie, the leap of faith scene, which is, I mean, every time I see that scene, I get goosebumps watching it. You saw it a little bit in that trailer there, but watching it in the movie, and that great shot of Miles, like, he's lifting the spider webs as he's falling off the building, and his eyes are like closing in on us because the air is just getting to him. Like, that's one of my favorite shots in animation. It's just so well done, man. I mean, this thing is incredible. The end credit scene is great, making fun with the Spider-Man meme. It's one of the biggest laughs in the movie. So, I mean, it's just Sony Pictures Animation needed this, man. This is a movie that they needed to be right up there with stuff like Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and Warner Brothers. I mean, at the time, they were one of the most underrated animated studios out there. They had made a ton of good stuff like Surf's Up, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Arthur Christmas, Hotel Transylvania. They rarely made bad stuff except for the Smurfs movies and the Emoji Movie, but this was their best work to date, and these films are their best works to date. I mean, this and Across the Spiderverse are two of my favorite movies of all time. Across the Spiderverse upped the ante big time, and I love that movie just as much as I love Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, this thing is just amazing, man. I mean, I don't know what else I could say about this film that I haven't already said. I mean, really, what more do I need to say about it? It's a great movie. It's been a great series so far. I can only hope they stick the landing big time with the third film. I mean, you've waited this long for it. The leaked trailer actually came out as I'm recording this today, and I'm not watching that. Because if I'm going to watch the trailer, I'm going to watch it where it doesn't look fit. It doesn't look like someone recorded it off of a camera or something like that. I want to see the whole high-quality version of it here. Like, I'll do that for the D23 stuff that they won't show on Disney Plus, because as I'm recording this tonight, the Disney Entertainment Showcase happened, and there was stuff for the new Simpsons movie, and I watched that because it's more than likely that we're probably not going to see that anytime soon until we get a trailer for that, probably towards the end of the year or maybe next year. Or it's got to be next year because that's when the movie's coming out. But I'm not watching that Spider-Man leak trailer. I want to watch that trailer when it gets fully released. And, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the end of this trilogy. I'm hoping that they end it on a high note. Don't screw it up, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Please. I'm begging you. Please. Please. But regardless, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, this is just a great movie, a masterpiece. Hits all the right cylinders on so many levels. It's a movie you need to see. If you haven't seen it by this point, see it, man. I mean, there's a reason why this is the first Marvel movie to ever win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Sorry, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Nice trying to put that on everybody by putting that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure you've seen this, but if you haven't, here it is right here, where, Ralph Breaks the Internet came out on Blu-ray, and somebody at Disney thought they were being sneaky by putting the Oscar winner for Best Animated Feature, and it's just like, no. We all saw the Oscars that night. You lost to a really great movie in Spider-Man, and yeah, I agree, Wreck-It Ralph should have won Best Animated Feature over Brave, but not with Ralph Breaks the Internet. No. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, what more can I say? One of the best animated movies I've ever seen. Best movie of the year. One of my all-time favorite movies. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, because, hey, Spider-Man's not the only one who's trying to make some money this holiday weekend. Let's take a look at Clint Eastwood's latest film, and that is The Mule.
Need help, sir?
Officer, hi.
You need help?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Ordinarily, he'd be going to jail immediately, but considering the fact that he's pretty much in his 90s at this point, I'm sure the cop probably would have been like, you know what, I'm going to let you slide on this one, but don't you do anything crazy, you old man Clint Eastwood, you. But, yes, this is The Mule. This is the second Clint Eastwood film of the year after the 15-17 to Paris, and, no question about it, this is definitely the better of those two movies. It's a story about Earl Stone, played by Clint Eastwood, who is a World War II veteran in his 80s who becomes a drug courier for the Sinaloa cartel. This is based off of a story by the New York Times, The Sinaloa Cartel's 90-year-old Drug Mule by Sam Dolnick, which recounts the story of Leo Sharp, who was also a World War II veteran of the same caliber here. And this is a movie where, you know, you have a cast that also includes Bradley Cooper, Lawrence Fishburne, Michael Pena, Diane Wiest, and Andy Garcia. And, you know, written by Nick Shenick, who also wrote The Judge from a couple years ago. And this isn't one of his best movies overall, but in terms of Clint Eastwood, but it's a movie where it is a really good film. It's a movie that showed that Clint Eastwood, even in his old age, can still make really great movies, even regardless of how you feel about regardless of how you feel about his age in particular. Because, like I said, you know, here's a guy that is nearing his, at this point, he's 96 right now, and he was 88 when this came out. I mean, the guy has been around for a long time, and you think by 88 at this point, you think, okay, you've had a long career, it's time to go ahead and call it quits, but the guy still kept doing it even after all these years. His last movie he directed, Juror Number 2, I watched it recently. It's a really good movie, and unfortunately, it got shelved because you know, Warner Brothers, the heads of Warner Brothers have no idea what the hell they're doing, especially nowadays, now that David Zaslav is gone and new assholes are coming in. But The Mule is a movie that definitely shows that Clint Eastwood still has what it takes, and he delivers a really good film overall that really does show that the guy still has it after all these years. It's a very compelling movie. It works to his advantages overall. It might honestly be the last great movie I've seen him ever make overall. I mean, Juror Number 2 is close, but this one overall is a really enjoyable film. Not one of his greatest films overall, but definitely a film that is very enjoyable and shows why Clint Eastwood is still a force to be reckoned with, even at his old age. So there you go. That's all I have to say about The Mule. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is, you know, Universal trying to prove to everybody that you people keep telling us we spend way too much money on these big bloated movies that are never going to make any money back. Well, guess what we have here? We have Peter Jackson. We have the man behind The Lord of the Rings, and we're going to prove that we can still make a ton of money with our latest film, Mortal Engines. Oh, fuck.
Of The Lord of the Rings comes a groundbreaking new saga. After the war, resources ran out. Cities were put on wheels. Earth became a hunting ground.
We have to stop London before it destroys us.
You want to die?
I'm gonna live.
Do it! Mortal Engines in...
You know, honestly, the first 15 seconds of this whole movie really sums up the film in general.
minutes is all it took.
Well, it may have taken 60 minutes for the apocalypse to happen, but it took 15 seconds to make you realize there's no way you're coming back from this movie overall. Yeah, this movie is bad, man, and they try to trick you to make you think that it's made by Peter Jackson, it's made by the filmmakers of The Lord of the Rings. Well, kind of is true, they wrote the script for this, but in terms of who directed this is Christian Rivers. Christian Rivers is somebody who has worked with Peter Jackson all the way back to his early days. Like, this is the guy that worked on films like Brain Dead, Heavenly Creatures, The Frighteners. I mean, he has worked with Peter Jackson a lot, and you'd think by this point in time, working for nearly 20 years, he'd be primed and ready for his directorial debut. But the problem is, you don't give people who have never directed a movie before $150 million to make a film that you know is not going to make any money back. I mean, you see it in the trailer there. It's like a mix of Mad Max meets Howl's Moving Castle meets a little bit of the Hunger Games. It's just kind of like, what are we doing here? Now, this is based off of a novel, and it centers around a post-apocalyptic world where entire cities have been mounted on wheels and motorized and hunt smaller cities. This is the movie they thought was going to make a ton of money, huh? I mean, this movie is awful, man. This is a lazy movie. And, it's so lazy that it even tries to trick you into think that it knows what it's doing, because there's literally a scene in this movie where, I shit you not, the minions show up in here as statues. Like, just, have I convinced you? I don't think I need to say anything else about how bad this movie is. Like, they literally have the minions as statues, and they think that, oh, they're gods and all that type of stuff. It's just kind of like, Jesus Christ, man, this movie was dead on arrival. The minions hadn't even been 10 years old when this came out. Like, it's just, this movie is such a mess. Not just for that, but just for everything else. It's Mad Max. It's Howl's Moving Castle. It's The Hunger Games. It's every one of these, stand up against rebel against the evils of the world type of a film. It's just, it fails on every single possible level. It's a terrible movie. It sucks so badly. It's bad. It's a really bad film. I don't think I need to say much more about this, because it's a bad movie. You didn't go see this film. This movie is awful, man. This is terrible. This is absolutely 100% terrible. Avoid Mortal Engines like the plague. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which I feel like we kind of touched on this movie before. We have, but it's odd. I'll give you that. It's called Once Upon a Deadpool.
For Christmas, a good guy in red is coming to theaters with his new sidekick, Fred.
Why am I here?
You're in a PG-13 version of Deadpool. Filtered through the prism of childlike innocence.
I'm a
And
grown
nobody
man.
does childlike innocence like you, Fred. Nobody. I need you almost as much as you need me.
I don't need you at all.
You need me to untie you once we're done.
I loved your working up. I'm sorry?
Don't get too attached.
Once upon a Deadpool.
Gotta prefer Marvel movies.
We are Marvel.
Yeah, but you're, Marvel licensed by Fox. It's like if the Beatles were produced by Nickelback. It's music, but it sucks.
Ooh, you were nicer as a kid.
Rated PG-13. Limited engagement in theaters December 12th.
Just give us a couple of years, and then Disney will buy up all the rest of Marvel, and we should be good to go there. But yeah, this is a weird idea here. So basically, what this is a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2 with some new and they did this. This was being made because Disney was close to buying Fox. They would buy it in the spring after the merger would be completely through by I think March or April of 2019. But so what ended up happening with this was that this was being made so that Disney could see if Deadpool could work in a PG-13 movie for the MCU. I mean, the whole idea of this thing was simply and effectively to see if Deadpool could stand a chance in the MCU if he was PG-13. And you would think that this is basically just the TV version of Deadpool 2. Like, this is the thing you'd see on FX or FXX in the not-too-distant future. But it's that, but it's also something where there actually is effort into it. Like, you see it in the trailer. Deadpool's telling the story of the film to Fred Savage, parodying The Princess Bride, in which a young Savage was told a bedtime story by Peter Falk, who avoided the scary parts that were a bit too adult for the youngster. So, what they did here was, they took what essentially is the TV version of Deadpool 2, and they added new stuff, alternate takes, various lines from Deadpool 2, and when I first heard about this, my first thought was maybe this was going to be something like, back when Anchorman came out in 2004, they had a DVD that came with the original DVD called Wake Up Ron Burgundy, which was a movie where they took a lot of the deleted scenes and alternate takes of various scenes and put them into a brand new narrative. And I thought they were going to do simply that. But this is basically just Deadpool 2 recut with not a whole lot of a difference to it, except for the Fred Savage interludes. But I mean, it's a weird idea overall, and I mean, I don't know what they thought the end result was going to be with this. Like, what was Disney think was going to happen if this turned out to be successful? I mean, what was their plan all along? You never really got a chance to figure it out, but I mean, hey, part of the ticket money went to charity, as Fox wanted to donate $1 for every ticket purchased to the Fuck Cancer charity campaign, which was temporarily renamed Fudge Cancer for the fundraising time. So at least some good came out of this overall. But as far as the film itself goes, it's okay. It's not terrible. It doesn't change my overall thoughts on Deadpool 2, which I still really love, but there's no denying that this is an extremely unnecessary movie. I mean, this is something that could have easily been put on Blu-ray or DVD and didn't need to be put on the big screen. This was something that I thought was going to be played on Freeform, or even had a chance to air on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon in about 5 years when they played Deadpool 2 back-to-back with the first film on while they're playing the Deadpool 2 back-to-back with the first film on FX and FXX. Like, you know, you have Deadpool and Deadpool 2 on FX and FXX. Meanwhile, over on Freeform, Cartoon Network, or Nickelodeon, you could show them Once Upon a Deadpool, which sounds crazy, but yeah, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon have been proven to show that they can show movies that are not just kiddie films. I mean, for God's sakes, Cartoon Network showed Young Frankenstein a couple years ago. I'm not kidding you. Like, look it up. It's definitely out there. Like, I mean, like, it's just... The sad truth is that the Fred Savage inclusions are actually pretty funny, but the problem is there's not a whole lot of those scenes. There's like literally 20 to 30 minutes of just Deadpool 2, and then it's just randomly interrupted by these inclusions. And on top of that, they trimmed down several scenes that lagged a bit in the original release, but there's still a lot of padding out. Like, they trim the movie down about 2 minutes from the original theatrical cut, but not the scenes that kind of needed to be trimmed down, like the full Deadpool death scene at the end of the movie, which I thought went on way too long in the original cut, is still fully intact, and that there would have been a good place to cut that down a bit. Not to mention, for something intended to bring more kids and families into the movie, when I went to go see this in theaters, let me tell you something, there was a lot of horror trailers at the start of this movie. I swear to God, the screening I went to literally began with previews for The Prophecy, Happy Death Day to You, and Brightburn. Before someone realized, oh shit, this is meant to be for families, so let's throw in Captain Marvel, Detective Pikachu, the kid who would be king, and it's just kind of like, did anybody not notice that? Did anybody not notice that when they were putting that trailer reel together over at Cinemark? I mean, what the hell? I guess the best thing I could say about the movie is that, you know, something that they had to have just added in the last few weeks, because around this time Stan Lee had just passed away a couple weeks ago. And, you know, this is, of course, the second movie where Stan Lee showed up on the same weekend, because his last cameo was in Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. But here, they do a tribute to him where it's very nicely done, and it's hard not to get a little emotional hearing Stan Lee talking about what he wanted his legacy to be. So, there is at least that. But other than that, though, you know, Once Upon a Deadpool is just okay. It's not something you need to rush out and see, and I'm not even going to go as far as to say as this should be the version that you should show to kids, because I still think you need to show them the R-rated cut to fully appreciate these movies for what they are. The new stuff is decent, but it definitely feels like it's really pointless in the long run. The best way I think I can describe this is remember How I Met Your Mother when Lily goes off to San Francisco for the art classes, and she's talking about how things were great in San Francisco, and then when it's coming out she's miserable. It's actually the complete opposite of what she says. Like, when you talk about Deadpool 2, the original cut, you think to yourself, oh my god, this is your best work. I've never seen anything so... Needless to say, this is art. I can't teach you anything. While with this, you think to yourself, oh my god, this is your best work? I've never seen anything so needless. To say that this is art, I can't teach you anything. Like that's how you feel after watching this, after it's all said and done. And it's just kind of like, I mean, really, what was the point of all this? Like, do you think Disney was really happy with the result of this to say that they should put him in there in the PG-13 movie? Well, not really, because the thing didn't do great business overall. It actually did a lot better overseas than it did here. It only brought in $6 million domestically here, but if you include worldwide numbers, it brought in $45 million and made it up to a $50 million worldwide gross. So it wasn't a complete loss, but overall, Disney probably had to think to themselves, what was the point of doing this here? Especially when we found out later on down the road that it didn't really matter, because, you know, you put Wolverine in a Deadpool movie, and nevertheless, people are going to come and see it, and boom, it's the biggest R-rated film of all time at that point. Of course, that could change with the Odyssey coming close to it, but we still have to wait to see how that happens. Who knows? It might have actually happened by the time you watch this, but probably not. But so yeah, overall, yeah, that's Once Upon a Deadpool for you. A weird, bizarre concept that has some merit to it, but is mostly kind of pointless in the end. So let's go ahead and wrap this up here by taking a look at our last film that we have here, Barry Jenkins' follow-up to his Oscar-winning Moonlight, and that is If Beale Street Could Talk.
Are falling in love with Beale Street. From the Academy Award-winning director of Moonlight.
You ready for this?
Nominated for 3 Oscars.
If you trusted love this far, trust it all the way.
If Beale Street Could Talk. In cinemas everywhere Valentine's Day.
So yeah, this is another one of those movies that just kind of came and went. I mean, the big thing about this movie, of course, was the Oscar wins, which we'll touch on in just a second here, but kind of like with Moonlight, it wasn't a big box office success overall, but nevertheless, it went on to become a gigantic awards winner overall, especially usurping La La Land for the Best Picture winner in one of the great Oscar moments of recent memories here. But this is based off of James Baldwin's 1974 novel, and it's a film following a young woman played by Kiki Lane, who, with her family's support, seeks to clear her name of a wrongly charged lover, played by Stephen James, and prove her innocence before the birth of their child. They also have a cast that includes Coleman Domingo, Teyonah Parris, Michael Beach, Dave Franco, Diego Luna, Pedro Pascal, Ed Skrein, Brian Tyree Henry again, another movie that he's in this weekend, and Regina King, who, of course, won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in this. And, there has been this theory about, what happens when people win the Best Picture Oscar and then their next movie isn't as great of a success overall, financially or critically. And it's not really something that has happened a lot. It's happened with a couple of movies. Mickey 17 wasn't the big hit that everyone thought it was going to be, but it still is a good movie. The Odyssey, that's Christopher Nolan's first film after Oppenheimer, and that's a great movie. So maybe it's just a one-off thing in general here, but Barry Jenkins delivered another winner here. You forget that this guy is a solid freaking director, man. I mean, he can take these stories that are so compelling and so engaging with these great characters overall here, and it's just very well done what he's able to do. And this is another really good movie from him overall, with a great cast in general. And again, everyone remembers this for Regina King, always been one of my favorite actresses, and it's great to see that she got her respect, her long-deserved respect for this with the Academy Award win. I mean, it's a really good film overall, and again, Barry Jenkins is a solid director. This guy made Mufasa the Lion King a really good movie. That is a really good, that's actually one of the better Disney live-action remakes we've had as of late, and mostly because it didn't do the same things that The Lion King did, which we'll get to in the summer of 2019, but this movie really is good. I think it is a very good film that's on the same wavelength as Moonlight. I thought Moonlight was a great film overall. This is a really good film, too. A very compelling film with a lot of great talent all across the board. It's a great movie. Definitely one you should check out if you haven't seen it. If Beale Street Could Talk. So with that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and next time we meet, we've got The Week Before Christmas and all through the movie world. Creatures were stirring, everything from Aquaman to Mary Poppins flying back into the spring of things, robotic cars, Jennifer Lopez, Steve Carell, Robert Zemeckis. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We've got some big holiday releases coming up, including DC's latest film, Jason Momoa starring as Aquaman. The return of Mary Poppins, not played by Julia Roberts. In fact, you'll be surprised at what movie she did that wasn't Mary Poppins this weekend. With we got Mary Poppins Returns, which features Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel Miranda, so it's not a complete loss overall. We get to see what happens when you finally take Michael Bay away from the fucking Transformers movies, and it turns out you make some pretty good movies, starting off with Bumblebee from director Travis Knight of the Laika family animation acclaim. We have Jennifer Lopez starring in Peter Segal's latest film, Second Act. We have Robert Zemeckis' latest film, Welcome to Marwen, with Steve Carell, which you'd think would be a winner, but sadly is the beginning of the downfall for the once great Robert Zemeckis. And, he's been on this kind of downfall for a little bit here, but yeah, this movie was definitely the low mark for him. We'll touch on that. And was there another movie here that I completely forgot about? I guess not. So 5 big holiday releases to look at. Aquaman, Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee, Second Act, Welcome to Marwen. So we have all these movies to look at here. We'll take a look at them tomorrow, so I hope you will join me for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care. Bye.